Well, leftists are terrified of being drafted into war. Oh, the irony, the very same young leftists that voted overwhelmingly for the warmongering, child-sniffing Joe Biden are now terrified that their man in the White House is going to draft them to go to war and fight on his behalf. They're telling Biden basically on social media, go F yourself. Are they having buyer's remorse? According to Zerohedge, over the past few weeks, searches for military draft and military draft age have been skyrocketing on Google Trends. So I confirmed this today. I went on Google Trends and to see what is the search volume right now for young people who are pretty darn concerned that they are about to be drafted. So here's the military draft age as a search query. Look at this. People searching military draft age to find out, am I going to be drafted? Look there on the right side of your screen. This huge spike in these in this search query, and then here's another one. The term military draft, just military draft, people are searching for. Huge spike in search terms, and of course we can see by geography and age range as well where and who these people are. By the way, keep this up on your screen. Do you notice anything interesting about this chart? If you look at the huge spike to the left there, just like like a few quadrants over to the left there. Well, that was January of 2020. So I dove deeply into that. I'm like, why in January of 2020 were there so many concerns about a military draft and military draft age? Well, that's because tensions between the United States and Iran had increased following the assassination by the Trump administration of Qasem Soleimani, of course, the Iranian military leader, who was looking to basically normalize relations and create sort of one united Muslim front, which was a huge threat to the United States. A Muslim front, in the Islamic world that are all united, setting aside differences between Shia and Sunni, and all coming together was a huge threat, of course, to the United States. And we took them out. And of course, then Americans were like, oh shit, are we going to war with Iran? Better find out if I'm going to be drafted. Because the last time we had a draft was 1972. It's not, like World War II. As people who don't understand their history, it's not like it's way back in ancient history. No, it was in the 70s, for crying out loud. This is, fairly recent history in the United States. And now we're on the doorstep again of Iran and perhaps war. So people are doing the search for, people doing the searching are Generation Z, people in their early 20s, right? It's like you were born in like 1997, or if you were born after 1997, basically. So people in their early 20s who voted for Joe Biden. Huge reason that he won the election. Here's NBC News. The 2020 election shows Gen Z's voting power for years to come because they dominated it. Generation Z, who are currently between the ages of 8 and 23, played a significant role in both of these records for President Biden. NBC exit polls suggest that 65% of those between the ages of 18 and 24 voted for Biden, 11% more than any other age group. So Gen Z loves President Biden. Well, now Gen Zers are taking to social media, posting videos on how Biden can go F himself. And if they think we're going to be drafted, we will not be drafted. We'd rather go to prison, right? Because here's what it would mean for these people. Failing to register for the draft or join the military as directed is a felony punishable by a fine of up to $250,000 or a prison term of up to 5 years or a combination of both. So some even saying, hey, we'd rather go to prison for 5 years, get free food, have our clothing taken care of, rather than being shot at in a war zone. This is watch this Gen Zer.
Okay, so 5 years of rent-free living, free food, and no responsibilities versus being immediately obliterated by an AK-47 the moment I set foot on that battlefield. And that's if they can catch me, because you think, this draft occurs, I'm headed for the hills, baby. I know a place. It has everything I could possibly need, except for electricity and cell service, which is going to be perfect because you won't be able to find me. Do I look like somebody who the authorities are going to be chasing after, hunting down because they need me? They need me to grab an assault weapon and go try to save people's lives? Are you kidding me? Talk about a liability. Go find those people who are so pro Second Amendment and wear freaking American flag thongs and all that shit. Like, go find them. They have a concealed carry anyway. They know what they're doing. They've done the classes. Go find them. You don't want me fighting for this country. I promise you that. And you know it's true.
Okay, those people who are pro-Second Amendment and wear MAGA hats didn't vote for Joe Biden. And by the way, President Trump, the only president not to increase and add to our list of wars that we're currently in the United States. He didn't start any wars. So the guy that you voted for...
It also sounds like that kid has a certain set of skills that would be very valuable to the military.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, you're willing
elusive.
to...
Right, you're elusive and you're willing to go hide
in the woods for 5 years, no problem.
That's good sniper training right there. You want to go live like in a pile of leaves, and we could use a sniper.
I thought the same thing. He's got survival skills.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to be up in the mountains, no electricity, no cell service. I know a place. Okay, great.
Actually, there was, I think it was Slate, or there was a feature story years ago about how people who try and go off the grid and like die for the insurance money end up not being able to do it because they inevitably will like log into Facebook or send an email.
Oh, like they pretend to be dead?
Yeah, people who fake their own deaths for whatever reason, for the insurance money or whatever.
But here's a guy posting on TikTok. Chances are this guy's not going to be able to stay away from TikTok.
Right. We'll see how that goes. You have to not log in ever.
But here's another guy. Here's another Gen Zer who says Gen Z is not getting drafted. He said it's not going to happen. And he's like, it doesn't make any sense. Watch.
Why is everybody saying Gen Z is going to get drafted? Like, no, the fuck we're not. And you know why I know that? Like, how are they going to actually force us to get up and go to war? I understand it was like that in like the 1940s. What else is there to do in 1940 besides shoot people? We have things to do nowadays. We have to work, be bisexual, eat hot chip, lie. And we're also like really mentally ill. I have like 6 of these. What makes you think I'm qualified to have a gun? Like, within 600 feet of anybody, including myself. And finally, like, guns are, like, so tacky. Can you imagine just, like, pulling up with a gun? Like, that is so fucking embarrassing. Like, what is this, the Revolutionary fucking War? No. Let's just talk. There's no need for all the, like, no. No.
Feel safer now.
It just, it makes me think when I see people like this who are so flippant about this now, right? Mm-hmm. Like, where were you when you were voting for this guy and you didn't understand this guy's record and you didn't understand what this guy pushed for in the United States? So these are the people that you vote into office, and you pretend that they are something else. And then when push comes to shove, now you're saying there's no way I would do that. My president of the United States, the man that I selected to be put into office here, President Obama, President Biden, the most warmongering presidents we've had in years.
Right, but no Republican ran against either of those people pointing out their war crimes. Yeah. And so if Republicans were really something different, they would not attack Obama based on his race or whatever, or these culture wars. They would point out that guy attacked more people in the Middle East, ramped up the drone strikes, started more wars, is basically a war criminal. We would have had that as the reason we were voting in 2012 as part of the campaign. But they didn't, and they still don't. Can
you imagine, though, standing up on stage during a debate and having somebody say right to President Obama's face, you, sir, are a war criminal. Like, you, and I'm running against this guy. This guy started wars in Syria, killed innocent civilians. Lebanon, Syria, Yemen.
Right.
This guy's a war criminal. I know he looks all nice and polished, and he plays basketball, and he talks like he's he's like one of the guys. He fist bumps people, and he has beers with people. This guy's a war criminal. Can you imagine that during a debate? I think Trump would have said that. He certainly called out the Bushes. Mm-hmm. Trump certainly called out Jeb Bush and his family for starting the worst war, in modern American history in Iraq. Another member of Gen Z actually disrupted a Hillary Clinton speech concerned about this warmongering of President Biden, her great friend, President Biden, that she praises and thinks he's one of the greatest presidents in American history. And last week she said he's amazing. So here she is having a discussion about the current state of the world when a Gen Zer stands up and calls out this, the warmongering ways. Maybe he's got buyer's remorse. Listen, and I don't know that he voted for her.
By the hypocrisy of the...
Two more people to hear from.
I'm sorry.
You have a chance. Well, I'm not sorry. You sit down.
I know you're not sorry. That's the point. The hypocrisy of this speech. The hypocrisy of the fact that... What do you have? Can you please...
Is
can you please make a statement about President Joe Biden's speech? This is a clearly warmongering speech. President Joe Biden is calling for $100 billion of funding for Israel, Taiwan, and Ukraine, and we're supposed to just bundle these together and pretend like we're going to rush to World War III, and we're all just going to let Hillary Rodham Clinton sit here. Okay.
I'm sorry. You know, this is not the way to have a conversation.
I'm sorry.
If you want to have a conversation, you're welcome to come talk to me afterwards.
You can sit here. Okay, right. You're gonna wait for me, right? Please, I do not believe you.
And I will listen to you, and I will respond to you.
I do not believe you.
But
respectfully, I do not believe you.
Well,
and the fact of the matter is that the American people's voice are what need to be heard.
Yeah,
because,
they are being
because
heard.
Our president is not speaking for the American people, and neither are
that's
you.
Your opinion.
Yeah.
Well, he has the right to be afraid.
Yeah, I would be too if I'm a Gen Z and I'm like,
would be.
You're gonna send me to Iran? You're going to send me into Syria? You're going to send me into Israel and go into caves and tunnels and use like nerve agents against Hamas? What? Okay. So I asked Scott Ritter this question about the draft, and is this a real possibility? Because the U.S. military the recruitment numbers are in the toilet. So that if you're going to start this, you're going to have a draft. You're going to have to pull people out of their, mountain retreat, eating your peanut butter and celery sticks. And those are the people that are going to have to serve, or they'll spend 5 years in prison if they don't.
The United States Army just had a shortfall in recruiting. They are literally tens of thousands of personnel short of what their authorized manning strength is, which means instead of expanding the U.S. Army, they have to shrink it. They don't have enough men or women to fill the ranks. And so certain units, certain capabilities are being taken down to zero because you don't have manpower to do this. And now Congress is talking about beefing up with what? Are you going to go to a draft? Have you run that by the American people?
Yeah. No, you haven't. But we see how Gen Z is responding to the idea of a draft.
So vote wisely, Gen Z. Then I think this idea that we just came up with is brilliant. Is if you vote and your president you voted for initiates a draft, you got to go because you voted for this guy. So you then you got to follow what he does.
Yeah.
But if you voted for the person who did not, right? You didn't vote for him, you shouldn't be drafted.
Yeah.
So then will you be careful with your vote, or will you pay attention to what these politicians actually do when they scream about gender or race because you're Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama? Oh, they only don't like me because I'm a woman or because I'm a black person. No, I think we should run on the issues that you're a warmonger, a war criminal. Has nothing to do with the color of your skin.
You're a
your
warmonger
gender.
who also happens to be black.
Right.
President Obama.
Yeah, not the first.
Right.
So, and not the last. So anyway.
I had a few years ago, I was having a conversation with a friend, and she was like talking about voting for Hillary. And I was like, no, I definitely didn't vote for Hillary. She's like, oh, you voted for Trump? I was like, well, no, I didn't vote for Trump. She's like, well, why didn't you vote for Hillary? And I was like, well, because she's a warmonger. And the friend was just like, what do you mean? And I was like, what do you mean? What do I mean? Like that's
they
like
don't know.
Like every other word out of her mouth is war or bomb somebody. And I'm like, how are you unaware of this? And she was just completely oblivious. Did not realize that there was, that was who this was. She was just looking at it as gender politics.
Yes.
And she's like, well, I wanted to vote for a woman. And I was like, yes, but I don't want people to die.
Right.
Like, I would gladly vote for a woman if the woman was like, I would rather not bomb people.
Yeah.
Just period.
Or if the woman had not started a war in Libya. How about that? Like sort of baseline resume. How many wars have you started in how many countries? Well, sorry, she's got to tell the truth on that application and check at least 3.
Yeah. All right, Victoria Newland, I see you're applying for this job here. Nice to meet you, Vicky. How many wars have you started?
Syria.
Holy shit, your list is long here. Ukraine.
Lebanon.
Wow. Yeah, you've got a long laundry list.
Yeah.
So sorry, you're out. Yeah. Let us know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Any Gen Zers watching us right now, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. Drop us a comment in the comment section below.
Right. And really think hard about your vote next year and where you're going to go.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.